Supercars aren't just about their engines and performance. They also have lots of cool and interesting features. And so I've come to GVE London to give you my rundown of what I think are the coolest and most interesting features you can find on supercars. Oh, probably shouldn't sit on that. It's a bit expensive. Oh, or on this. That's even more expensive. Anyway, let's do this. Buy, sell,
Carwow.
Let's start this video with the McLaren P1. And its party piece is when you put it into race mode. So what that does is lower the car's suspension and makes this wing rise up. Here we go. That is really quite pleasing. Another key feature of the McLaren P1 are hidden ways for opening stuff. So with the front boot, you have to release it on the key and then push in this button here. If you want to get inside the car, there's another hidden button just here. There we go. And your fuel filler is under this flap on the roof. And if you need to top up with oil, you might need to. It's a McLaren after all. That is under here. On the inside, the P1 has some unique buttons on the steering wheel. There's your DRS button to actually reduce drag from that wing for higher top speed. Then an I-Pass button for maximum performance. It also, rather weirdly, has 1, 2, 3 cup holders, even though there's only 1, 2 seats. Now, I must say, I really like this purple trim. Lovely. Next, we have the Lexus LFA, which has one of the best sounding cold starts of any car, thanks to its 4.8 litre V10. So let's start it. It's glorious. Amazing. On the inside, the LFA has some very strange buttons. Just look at these for controlling the electric seat. Bizarre. Then there's some odd placement of buttons. For instance, there's a button just back here. What is that for? Weirdly enough, it's for controlling the spoiler. Press it, they can make it go down. Or back up again. Question is though, why would you have that button here? What's that all about? If you think the position of the spoiler button is very odd, then how about this? This is the fuel filler cap, and there's the fuel, and then there's this blue thing here. Now you might think that that's AdBlue for a diesel engine, but obviously not in the case of this car. It is the washer fluid for the windscreen. Why would you have that next to the fuel filler cap? Bizarre. Then there's a rev counter, which is digital. Lots of cars have digital rev counters nowadays, but back in 2010, when this car was launched, they didn't. The reason this car has one is because the engine revs so fast, a normal needle wouldn't be able to keep up. Plus, it's really nice the way when you put it into sports mode, the dials change colour. Couldn't resist it. Also, this car has some rather padded seat belts. It's not actually padding, you've got airbags in there. And one other thing that is a bit unusual about this car is the infotainment system with this rather odd mouse that you use to move your cursor around. It's really not very good, that, unlike the rest of the car, which is incredible. Now we have a Bugatti Veyron, and you might be thinking, wait a minute, this is a car with 8 litres, 16 cylinders, 4 turbos. Why does it only have 1 exhaust? Well, actually, there's another 2 exhausts, one there and one there, which are hidden away. Anyway, while we're here, let's have a listen to a cold start. That's loud. Now you might be thinking the Veyron has 2 fuel tanks because you have what looks like 2 fuel filler caps. So here's 1, here's 2. However, if you look closely, that's actually for the oil. The Veyron has a very distinctive extendable spoiler, so you can press a button in the cabin to raise it all the way up. And it really goes quite high. And when you're driving and you hit the brakes, this will actually tip up like that to help slow you down. On the inside, the Veyron has 3 dials, and the dial on the left is actually your horsepower dial, and it goes all the way up from 0 to 1001, which is the horsepower output of this car's engine. When they were designing this car, they tried to make it as minimalist on the inside as possible. And that's why you have a clock here, but no buttons to set the time, because that would clutter up this dash. So to set the time, you actually have to open the glove box and then use these buttons over here. What's a bit bizarre about this particular car is that it has the optional bucket seats. They're carbon fibre, but look, for such an expensive car, we have manual adjustment. Though I have to say, this lever here for the backrest is solid metal. It feels exquisite, as does this part of the steering wheel, solid metal. On these switches for the windows, you've got leather on them and leather on the switches for the interior lights. One last thing to show you is this. The car comes with 2 keys. So there's the normal key for your ignition. However, if you want to access this car's top speed of 253 miles an hour, you have to take the second key and put it in here and turn it. Then what will happen is the car will do a series of safety checks. It will also lower it down and reduce the spoiler for less drag. And then you get a speed increase from the standard 236 to that full 253 miles an hour. Here we have a Ferrari 812 GTS. So let's have a listen to the cold start of its 6.5 litre V12. Oh yeah. That's really nice. Now, one of the things about this car is that obviously you get to enjoy the noise because it's a convertible. But if it rains, it's easy to put the roof up. So let's have the roof up. Or rather theatrical. Slight issue with having the roof up though is that you can't hear the V12 quite so clearly. However, you can actually lower this rear window and there you go. You can keep your hair dry but still enjoy the noise from the engine. As with a Formula One car, you control everything pretty much through the car's steering wheel. So the indicators are on there, the lights, and you also have this little switch called the Manatino. And so you use that to choose your different driving modes, ranging from wet, sport, race, traction control off, or stability control off, where you're completely on your own. And that bonging sound was the warning to let me know that I am now on my own. So we'll just put that back into race. Another funny feature on this car is that it has adjustable suspension. However, in this Ferrari, it starts off stiff, and then when you press the button, it goes into bumpy road mode, which is softer. Most of the cars start off soft, then get stiffer. Last thing to show you is this. There's a little screen here for the passenger so they can see your speed and your revs. Cool. This is another V12 engine car. It's an Aston Martin Vanquish Zagato. So let's have a listen to the cold start. Go on. Oh, a bit deeper than the Ferrari. Oh, yes. Now, what's special about this car isn't necessarily the engine, because it's got the same 600 horsepower as a normal Vanquish, but what Zagato have done is completely rebodied it. And all the body panels are carbon fibre, and the paint is so thin you can actually see the carbon fibre slightly through the paint itself. Also, unlike a normal Aston Martin, which has green on the badge, this has red. And special note for these tail lamps. They look amazing. And it's also got some of the brightest fog lamps I've ever seen on a car. Zagato made 4 different versions of the Vanquish. There's this coupe, there was also a convertible, an estate and a speedster. So they sold 99 of the coupe, the convertible and the estate, and less than 30 of the speedster, which had no roof at all. The inside is like a normal Vanquish, apart from it's been completely retrimmed, and there's quite a lot of Zs about the place. Look, loads of them. Like a normal Vanquish, it has a weird fly-off handbrake, so look, the handbrake is actually on, but that stays down. And it has what they call the emotion key. So it's the Aston Martin key, and to start the car, you put it into the dash like that and then press it to start the engine. I'm not just going to focus on supercars, because here I have a super car. It's a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. First thing to show you is this. Like with all other Rolls-Royces and of course Scooters, you have an umbrella hidden in the door. Pop that back. Now here on the inside, it feels super expensive with a really comfy seat. You've got super deep lamb's wool carpets and very, very posh picnic tables. Look at this. And we have a screen here that will pop out. I'll just put that away. Obviously everything is automated, including the doors, so I can just shut the door without having to lean out. Press a button up here. If you want to, at the touch of a button inside the cabin, you can make the Spirit of Ecstasy disappear. Obviously you can make her reappear again. Like that. Now let's just pop the bonnet because we're going to do a cold start on this car. Okay, so we're going to see how smooth this 6.75 litre V12 is. So go on, start it up. A lot less noise than the other V12s we've heard. What I'm going to do is put this coin on the engine, and now let's see how smooth it is. Rev it. The coin is not falling over. That's how smooth a Rolls-Royce V12 is. Now we come to a Porsche 911 991 GT2 RS. So this car's obviously about power. It's got 700 horsepower. It's also about light and weight. So it has carbon fibre bonnet. In fact, you don't get a normal Porsche emblem badge. The badge is painted on. Once again, saving weight. You have magnesium wheels. You have a carbon fibre roof. You have plexiglass rear window, and this is the most anal attention to detail to weight saving. So the engine cover, rather than having a normal catch or gas struts, there's this little plastic cap that just holds it open. And I think while we're here, let's experience the cold start of this 3.8 litre twin turbo flat six. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Next up, we have a McLaren 765 LT, which is also about a combination of power and lightness. It's fitted with a titanium exhaust to help save weight. It also sounds good. Let's start it up, experience the cold start of this 4 litre twin turbo V8. Now, this is the Spider, so let's put the roof up. And just like with the Ferrari, you can lower the rear screen, so when it's raining you can hear the engine and exhaust, which doesn't sound as good as the Ferrari, does it? Not only can you make this car's roof go up and down, you can also make its instrument display go up and down. So if I press this button, we can go from that display to a more minimalist one like that. This is a Lamborghini Aventador SV, and it has a special cover over the starter button, a little bit like how a fighter jet has a cover over the fire button for the missiles. However, some owners found this a bit of a pain when they just wanted to start their car. So, for the Huracan, Lamborghini kept the cover, but the hole in it where you can read the word stop on the Aventador, they made it big enough here so that you could actually put your finger through it to actually start the engine without having to lift up the cover. Speaking of starting the engines, let's do cold starts. So start this Performante. Oh yeah, it's good. Whoa. Lovely. Right, now let's have a listen to this Aventador SV. Go on, start it. Really special. However, what happens if you fit a Brook racing exhaust to the SV? Well, this car has that fitted. So let's hear the cold start on the V12 with this aftermarket. V12 with that exhaust wins easy, no argument. If you thought that Lamborghini Aventador SV was loud, you haven't heard anything yet. This is a Ferrari Enzo Ferrari, and it's fitted with a factory straight-piped racing exhaust. So let's hear this 6 litre V12 in all its glory. I'm going to move back. Right, cut it! Cut it! You can't hear me, it's so blooming loud. Oh, this is insane, so insane. A bit like Porsche with the GT2 RS, saving weight by not having gas struts holding up the engine cover. Ferrari didn't have gas struts either. So how do you prop this big engine cover up? Well, they give you this special bar here. So you pull that out of there, whack it in there, then you just fit that in there like that and lock it into place. And it even has this special heat resistant grab handle there, because obviously this is metal, it gets very hot in this engine bay, but this means you don't burn your hands. The Enzo is a very special car. I mean, back in the day, it was one of the first ones to introduce shift lights on the steering wheel. It's got a real race-derived interior, you've got racing harnesses. But this one in particular is extra special because of this. That is Michael Schumacher's signature. He signed that himself by hand. Though the devil in me is tempted to just scratch it off a little. Probably shouldn't though, because it would affect this car's value. Speaking of which, let's find out how much this is worth and all the other cars we've featured so far in this video. This is George, Sales Director at GVE London. So George, what I'd like you to do is for every car that I've filmed today, I'd like you to tell me the price that they're currently up at. And I also want you to tell me whether the prices of those particular vehicles are either going up, going down, or just stationary right now. Okay?
Okay. It's not that straightforward, but I'll try my best to make it as
let's keep
short and sweet as possible.
Let's keep it dead simple. I like simple. First car we saw was McLaren P1. What's the price of that car?
1.4 million.
And what's happening with P1 prices?
Rising.
Okay. The next car, Lexus LFA. How much?
1.02.
And what's happening with those prices?
For the moment, static.
Okay, static. I thought they might have been going up.
Not that simple.
Okay. Unlike me. Then Bugatti Veyron. How much was that?
That is 950.
And what's happening with Veyron prices?
Rising.
Then we saw a Ferrari 812 GTS.
Yep.
How much is that?
400,000.
Prices? What are they doing?
Static for the moment.
Then we went to the Aston Martin Vanquish Zagato. How much is that car?
450.
Right, and what's happening with their prices?
Right now, in this very moment, static. Long-term rising.
After that, we saw a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. How much is that car, the silver one?
The silver one's up for 285,000.
And what's happening with Cullinan prices?
Unfortunately, dropping. Great bargain, though.
Great bargain at 200 and how much?
285, which cost 360 brand new.
Oh, that's good. So depreciation can work in your favour if you're buying used. Does it work in your favour if you're buying used with a Porsche 911 GT2 RS?
It doesn't, no, because you're paying big money over list.
Okay, so how much is that car?
That is £340,000.
Right, and what's happening with those prices?
In this very moment, static, but they were falling for the last couple of years.
Oh, really? So they've just levelled off now?
They're static at the moment, yeah, they're selling again.
Then we had a McLaren 765 LT. How much is that car? Yeah, the Spider.
390. Those are static. They were rising for ages and now they've come to a sort of a plateau.
Then we went and had a look at a bunch of Lamborghinis. First of all, a Huracan Performante Spider.
That's 190,000.
And what's happening with the prices?
That's extremely good value. That is going down a bit, but some of the other lower mileage ones are going up.
Confusing them with those. How about the blue SV over there?
Rising.
Okay, and what's the price of that one?
That's 360,000, it's sold now.
Okay, so can't have that one, unfortunately.
No.
And then, what about the black SV with the crazy exhaust?
360,000, rising.
Okay, so lots of the cars are still rising.
Yeah, you have to take things into consideration that right now we're in a recession of a market. It's August, things aren't selling so great. However, supercar sales sometimes can extend up to a month or 2 months. And I think if you look at it over the duration of 2 months, most of these cars will rise.
Finally then, one that I think has got to be rising regardless, the Enzo.
That is not for sale. However, it's been parked up in the showroom and since we've parked it up, it's gone up in value by 2.5 million. So it came in at 1.3 million and the car right now, valued for insurance purposes, is 3.5 million.
Wow, definitely that one's risen. Are they still rising at the price of those Enzos?
I mean, if you're talking about today from last month, no. However, give it another 2 or 3 months and they will. Okay,
well, there you go. So rather than get poor George to do a load of maths to add up the total value of all the cars we've seen today, we're going to show it on screen now. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. Let me know which of all the cars you've seen is your favourite by voting in the pinned comment. If you want to watch some more videos, you click on those windows there, and if you click on that box there, you can go to Carwow to sell your car the easy way. All you have to do is upload some photos, give a brief description, then dealers all across the country will bid on your car. It's simple. maybe you can sell a couple of cars to buy one of these that they got on sale here at GVE London. Thanks for watching.